There's so much more we can experience when we allow forgiveness to rest upon our vision, when we allow forgiveness to rest upon this world. So we go, well, there's some days I'm just, and there's some days when I'm angry, and then there's just some days when it's just okay, but I'm not happy. I'm not really happy. I'm not really content. It's just there's a film over my life. And what this is saying is you are entitled to so much more. We're entitled to so much more. And it's God's great pleasure to give us the kingdom. And that's what Jesus meant when he said, if you've got eyes, see. If you have ears, hear. That we have to stop just being content with okay. Enough. No, you're entitled to the kingdom. And you say, well, how do I get there? Well, that's what this is talking about. That's what forgiveness gives us, and so much more. Look on this as it continues on, where it says, it lets you, still in that third paragraph, it lets you recognize the Son of God, not only your brother, but yourself, and clears your memory of all dead thoughts. I love that. So that remembrance of your Father can arise across the threshold of your mind. What that's meaning is the angry thoughts, the judgmental thoughts, the compromising thoughts to our total happiness are covering up the awareness of Christ across the threshold of your mind. The capacity of your mind to be so keen and be able to solve the problems of your life, the situations and circumstances you're going through. You don't have to look to somebody else. You don't have to read another book. You don't have to go and hear another speaker. You have Christ's vision within you now. You have the answer to your specific problem within you now. This is what the Course is telling you. You know, the beauty of the Course, it says the goal of the Course is for you to finally throw the book away. To no longer need this book. Because you are listening to the voice for God. Now that's a bad thing in the world for a book to tell you. It should say this is super important and you should keep it for 2,000 years, just like the Bible. Sorry. But I mean, or that the church is indispensable. But what this is saying is, no, you have, and this was a heretical thought back during the time of the church, was that the idea that you could access God directly, right? Certainly the Catholic Church didn't like that. You need to come to confession. You need to go through a priest, not a nun, you know. I mean, we have a lot of steps and rules that we need to do. Or we need to maybe, you know, at one point in time, they were buying indulgences. Remember that? The church needed some money, and so you could buy this indulgence as a way to get to heaven. This is the history of the church. And we kind of chuckle about it, and you think, oh, that's, you know, but we're still doing it in some ways. We still do this in our lives. What this is saying to us, which is a revolutionary idea, but not, is that the power to access the face of Christ, the power to heal your life, and the problems of the world are within you now. Wow. That is the good news that Jesus came to give. So to me, we had the Old Testament, then we had the New Testament, which was the life of Jesus and his word, and now we have the Third Testament. I think we have a Course in Miracles. It says, okay, let me be real specific how you can do it, because it's up to you now. It's really up to you. And that's what I see the Course as being. And this is so powerful. Clears your memory of all those dead thoughts. You've got to stop being satisfied with our crappy thoughts that possess our minds. The angry thoughts we hold about people. The unforgiving thoughts we hold about ourselves. We need to start looking at those, so that the remembrance of your Father, the remembrance of truth, the power of love can arise across the threshold of your mind. What would you want forgiveness cannot give? What gifts? But these are worthy to be sought. This true awareness. What fancied value, trivial effect, or transient promise, and that's the world, never to be kept, can hold more hope than what forgiveness brings you. Fancied values, what the things we like in the world. I need wealth. I need to win the lotto. I need, you know, all these things that we think of. And yet we know that the people who sometimes get these immediate wealth, you know, they lose all their family and friends because they want people to do stuff for them, you know, and they end up, people who win the lotto, what do? They hide for a while. They hide away because they don't want anybody to know they've won, because they know immediately they're going to be bombarded with a lot of people and a lot of stuff, and how are they going to handle it? You know, and then you think about it, trivial effects. You know, think about that. I think about celebrities so many times. People strive and strive and strive. I laugh about this. I remember, I think it was Paul Newman. You think about all these people really want to be celebrities. They work very hard to get that stardom, and then they never want to give autographs. I think that was always known about Paul Newman, wouldn't give an autograph. And I always thought to myself, isn't that weird? You strive so hard, and then you won't do that because you want your own time. I understand that, but it's kind of weird, kind of ironic in some ways. Or how about transient promises? You know, I think we look at our bodies as betrayals to us sometimes, don't we? I mean, our bodies start, as we get older, they start betraying us. I used to be able to do so much more. Now I get so much more tired. You know, things that used to work better just don't quite have that punch anymore like they used. What happened? We see all these things. We feel all these things. You know, and then we try to do stuff to make sure we keep all this stuff, instead of finding something deeper. And I think that's why we begin to see there's such great value in, look at those wrinkles, they represent wisdom. You know, maybe your body can't move as fast, but maybe slowing down isn't such a bad thing. I loved how Lee Jampolsky always says, you know, I can't hear, but then I have to listen with something else. I have to listen with my heart. Or Jerry and Diane at this conference when we just had, and he says, you know, I dance, I don't dance as fast as I used to, but I still dance. You know, there is so many ways that we can find understanding and tolerance, but not if we're gauging ourselves on the world. There's something more here. We got to pull back that screen. It looks like we've seen everything. Looks like we've seen it all. But when we pull back that screen, we see, oh my God, I really didn't see everything there was to see.